smoke when they start. So and it'll keep up for probably the biggest part of the time that they run, but especially when they first start each engine, there'll be a lot of smoke. And we're pushing that oil out of the lower about 8 times, then it'll reach over.
Good morning from Wichita, Kansas, and the Doc's Friends group, and we're standing here as you're looking at the plane on the live stream on B-29doc.com. You're looking at Doc live on the ramp here in Wichita, and standing with us is Jim Murphy, and Jim is known as kind of the boss around here, Jim, and Jim will tell us what we're going to see this morning.
Great. Thank you. So big day for Doc and for all of our volunteers as we do our very first engine run on Doc. So our sequence will be number 3, number 4, number 2, and number 1 engines, and we'll rotate these big radials. A lot of oil down in the lower cylinders, so you'll see the what used to happen. The crews used to come out there and turn those props by hand. Now we do it with the starters. You'll see the props will turn about 6 to 8 revolutions first, just with the starter. Then we'll hit the ignition, and there will be a lot of smoke, and we'll start each engine, leave it running, go through the whole sequence until we've got all 4 going. We'll run those for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be done.
So Jim, can you tell us who's actually inside the plane? What crews are here? Do you have those guys?
Sure. So we've got a pretty special crew today. Rick Garvis is here from the Commemorative Air Force. He's the crew chief for Fifi. Fifi's actually in Great Bend today. They're there for an air show for all weekend. But the CAF and the Fifi crew has been a tremendous help to us. Our special thanks to them for letting us have Rick this weekend. Rick has passed on a lot of knowledge to us, and so Rick is in the flight engineer's seat. This is a flight engineer's airplane, but he's gonna start and be in charge of the crew today. TJ Norman, who's our operations manager, is riding the brakes in the pilot seat. In the co-pilot seat is Tony Mazzolini, and Tony is he's the man who made Doc happen. He found Doc out in the desert, purchased Doc, tore it down, and then brought it to Wichita in 2000, and here we are 15 years later, and he's sitting in the co-pilot seat. And then we also have Kenny is in. He's going to be our flight engineer, Kenny Newell, and Kenny is sitting, and now we got turning on number 3. So we'll just jar the starters a few times. We pre-oil, and then hit the starter, and we'll be ready for ignition.
Jim, while we're waiting for those props to turn, can you tell me what this means to you? I mean, you've been on this project for a while, and there are a couple of dozen volunteers across the way. Can you tell us what it means for them too?
This is a day when this airplane got here in 1,000 pieces, and nobody really was sure that this day would come. But through tremendous a love affair with this airplane and dedication of these volunteers, this is the last big step before first flight of the airplane.
Again, this is Jim Murphy, and Jim is really the person. Again, good morning from the flight crew and the DOCS team members here on the flight line at Air Capital Flight Line in Wichita, Kansas. You just witnessed all 4 engines successfully firing and testing on dock, and that is a major step towards our eventual first flight. The team is now exiting the aircraft, and they will debrief and look at gauges and come around the plane and look. You'll see some of the volunteers coming out. We will get an official statement from Jim Murphy and team as to what they found and what they saw. We will keep the live stream up as long as we can. Check back often at this website at b-29doc.com, and you can learn more information about how you can get involved and more information about the results of our test today. So we'll leave this up and we'll let you enjoy the gnat sound here next to the plane and the beautiful vision of this airplane. Media, let's go. Just stay with me. Four engine today. Our operations, I'm sure it's on its fire fairly quickly. We took some work to get that fourth one, but obviously we're very happy about all that.
Number 2 was a little temperamental. You know, it was running just a little rich, trying to run a little rich, and then we cycled through. We had a throttle mixture lever in the cockpit that was a little sticky, and they cycled that through, ran the generator enough to boost the battery back up a little bit, and then finally it fired right off. So you know, a few things we'll tweak, and now we've got to go through, trim the engines. We've got a team coming from Dallas that's going to help us do final balance on the props. We'll let it stretch its legs and run the engines up to a little higher RPM, and then we'll be ready to get the FAA out, sell the engine runs to them. You know, what we've really got to do is and then we're ready to get our cert for the airplane, and then work with Macomb.
Congratulations today. I really appreciate you joining us on the live stream, and we'll run this back a little later. Are continuing to watch a live post or be get you updated on exactly what was going on. Joining us is TJ Norman, and TJ is kind of the project director, so to speak. TJ was actually inside the fuselage, inside the cockpit during engine testing. So TJ, tell us what it was like in there. And we were all a little nervous, I think. We had 3 fire up right away, but that 4th one gave us a little problems, but we got it up and running.
Yeah, same with us. You know, we went through the normal start sequence, 3, 4, 2, 1, and got to 2, it just wouldn't want to light off. It kept wanting to flood out, so we decided to go to number 1, fire that up, let the starter cool off a little bit. And then it happened a couple more times, and finally we dry motored it enough to get all the fuel out of it, and decided we're going to try it one more time, and it finally let off.
Tell me about the emotion inside that cockpit when that thing finally fired.
Yeah, there is no words. It was, especially to have Tony sitting next to me, was just, he's back to 1940s now. He's 25 years old again, and to see his dream world.
One last question. You got some work to do today. What will we see next? We're gonna got inspection to do and look at some numbers, and then what?
Yeah, we obviously we got a little tweaking to do. We got a couple throttles that's we'll be doing many more engine runs. Once we get all that done, we'll start doing taxi tests and preparation for first flight.
TJ Norman, thanks. I appreciate it. Again, congratulations. And folks on the web stream, we'll keep it up just a little bit longer. I'm going to try to talk to Tony Mazzolini here in just a few minutes. Again, successful engine tests on all four. We were successful in firing all four engines on dock. The crew will kind of debrief here, and they will take a look at the numbers and the gauges and the readings to be sure that everything is good as they continue to work towards first flight. And that we're not sure when that may happen, but we will keep you posted on this website as we can. So stand by, and we'll get Tony Mazzolini here in just a few minutes. Good morning, folks, from engine testing crew and the dock crew. Again, a successful test today. We were able to fire all four engines. Had a little trouble with engine 3, but the third engine, but we were okay to eventually hang in there and look at the wide shot. Tony, they can't really see us, but maybe if you turn around and just wave at that camera over there. Tony is right underneath the dock emblem on the side of the fuselage. So, Tony, tell us, you were fired up successfully.
Well, it was a very emotional moment. I was keeping my fingers crossed that we didn't run into any mechanical snags or system problems, but it started. That all of the work, the quality work that was done up until now paid off, and it did. I was just before we decided to shut it all down that we got that fourth one. The first initial fuel load.
Down here with smiles, tell me.
All of the thoughts of the difficulties over the years trying to get it to this far. Again, my gratitude to all of these volunteers.
Tony Mazzolini, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and we'll see you soon. Again, folks, on the live stream, we appreciate you tuning in today. At this point, we are going to kind of step away from the interview process, step away from anybody being on the microphone. We will leave the live stream up for another few minutes. But again, we are successful here today in Wichita with 4 engines starting on dock as we had planned. And so check back on this website. It's www.b-29doc.com for updates. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter. On Twitter, the handle is @DocsFriends. And so we welcome you to follow us there. We'll provide updates as we can, and as we have photos and some video clips to share with you as we continue to make our way towards full restoration and, you know, the ultimate goal of getting this plane back in the air. Again, thank you so much for joining us today on the live stream. We really appreciate it, and we'll leave you now and let you enjoy the last view of the plane before we close on the web stream. Thanks. Have a great day.